Lunch and Life with Robin and Sharon. I'm Sharon Holand Gelfand, functional lifestyle holistic nutritionist, helping women over 40 get to the root of their most common health complaints with at-home testing and flexible food choices so they have more energy, less stress, and feel great again. And I'm here with my co-host, Robin.
And I am Robin Joy Meyers, and I am a former molecular geneticist turned fear strategist, and I help women embrace the 3 C's of life: choice, chance, and change. So you can tap into your true joy, which means just own you.
Robin, we're both wearing red again. What's the deal?
I think we look good in red, so.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the theme for the month, red every week.
So we're going to wear red because we like it.
We like it, and it brings us joy, and we're not stressed because we don't think about our clothing choices.
Right. If we wear the same red, we're in good shape. One choice we don't need to make anymore. So Sharon, last week we were talking about, speaking of stress and overwhelm, September is a big month and a big transition month. We talked about sort of the brain and the mindset and taking time for ourselves, right? And as we know, stress affects our body and our health. And so I want to throw to you this time, long pass. I want to throw to you this time food choices, because obviously, our food choices get to change in the fall, and there's some great new food choices. But how can we manage being in food choices are changing? It's not necessarily all the fresh fruits and veggies that you can get during the summer months, and still maintain that healthy balance.
That's an excellent question, because I think what happens over time is we get used to eating the same things, and we don't really listen intuitively to our bodies, but we also don't eat for the seasons. Mother Nature intended us to eat different fruits and vegetables each season because it provides us with the nutrients that our bodies need, right? So in the summertime, it's all light. It's like watermelon and fennel and light foods and salads to lift us up and give us the energy that we need to be outdoors and to be active. And as we transition into the fall, it's about grounding. So it's the harvesting of the root vegetables and the squashes and the apples. I mean, apple season, when my kids were little, we went apple picking every single year. You had Cortland and McIntosh and Red Delicious, and we would come home with these big baskets, and we'd make applesauce and apple cookies and apple crumb and apple everything. And you know the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away?
Is that real?
Yeah, it's real, because it gives us so many nutrients that our bodies need. And so transitioning into September with all the overwhelm and the stress, it's taking time to ground ourselves with foods that are going to boost our immune system, right? Because we have to take care of it. We've been talking COVID, and now flu season's going to be starting. People are getting a little nervous about that.
Well, they're saying this is going to be a very hefty flu season. And how do we eat to stay well? Because quite honestly, I think our immune systems are compromised, not being able to get outside, and when we go outside, we have a mask on. So we're not breathing the natural air necessarily.
Yeah.
So what do we do to boost our immune system if we are locked in?
Yeah. So, before I even answer that question, this whole idea of how our immune system is compromised, what you said is so important, because this isn't something even that happened overnight. And, we've grown up, we've been raised to eat a certain way, to buy into all these advertisements of, high in fiber, high in antioxidants, high fat, low fat, all of these diets and even when we're not feeling well, being put on antibiotics or products that we're using in the house, cleaning products and skincare products that are filled with toxins. There's so much that can overwhelm us and our bodies because we're breathing in some of these toxins and eating some of these foods. So the idea of our compromised immune system is, wait, where do I start? Right? So starting with food and starting to pay attention to what can I add in that will be healthy starts with some of these fresh fruits and vegetables that are being harvested this fall, right? The apples and the squashes, garlic and onions, and also sticking with the healthy foods like avocados and foods that are rich in nutrients and magnesium, because what stress does to our bodies is it depletes us of our B vitamins, it depletes us of our minerals. And so when we're depleted, it compromises our health even more. And then, as you and I have talked about, our gut gets compromised, and then the ability to send everything up through the vagus nerve to our brain is not available. So then we get the brain fog, and then we just are tired and we can't think properly. So going back to food first, going back to eating colors of the rainbow. There's a reason that all these colors exist. They're different phytonutrients to help build our immune system. It's even maybe thinking about, what haven't I tried? What can I bring in that's new? Or even drinking teas that are nourishing, dandelion tea that helps to detox the liver, the nettle that helps to support also liver and kidney function. It's picking one of these areas to start adding in so that we can give our gut the health and give our stress a reboot to allow the nutrients to do its job.
I love that you said that about picking one thing, because I think you put it in a great perspective for people that you don't necessarily have to go and change everything at once, right? So even if it's one meal that you make a great vegetarian chili or something like that, you know, and you just buy a bunch of different veggies and just throw it in. I mean, when I turned vegetarian and then vegan, it was kind of like trial and error, frankly. You know, most of it's good. Some of it has not been so good, but it's trial and error. But if you can just take one meal and, you know, meatless Monday or something like that, and just start playing with it, I think it makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah. And it's so, you know, the idea of like picking one meal and the trial and error, we're so conditioned to go externally to find something to fill what's missing that we need, when we know our bodies best, right? So we have to get connected to what we need. And that trial and error is really part of that process. You know, so eggs may be good for one person, may not be good for another person. Somebody may be reacting to broccoli, and somebody else, it may be healthy. So it's looking at all of that and what works for you and your lifestyle, because it's so individual. And I think that's where that overwhelm and stress comes in also, of, oh my God, you know, oh, I have to go on a diet. I have to stop eating this and eat this. You have to honor what your body needs, which is why, again, you know, coming back to the season of the plentiful harvest and starting there.
Well, let's talk about overwhelm. You mentioned overwhelm, which is part of this whole season, right? Of calming that overwhelmness. And so for this busy season that we're going into, when we're not expecting, but we still are all hanging out together and working and going to school and so forth, for the person or audience member who's listening and they're like, okay, so I'm supposed to now plan my meals and come up with a great meal that's healthy and balanced and hopefully everybody likes it. What can you give us, like a great tip for a good balanced meal, a great hack, anything, any ideas?
I love the word hack. Actually, I don't.
I use the word food hack all the time because when we used to eat out, you know, and I look at like menu prices, I'm like, I can do so much better, and you can do this much easier.
Yeah, hack is an interesting word. Okay, anyway, getting back to this. The one meal that is so simple and easy to do is a crock pot, is having a slow cooker, because then, you know, and because I think dinner is the hardest meal for families. You know, for those who are going back to school, or even, you know, work environments, working at home, it's that, oh my God, it's the end of the day and I have nothing prepared. So with the planning, it's looking at, okay, let me throw in a bunch of vegetables, some sweet potatoes. Maybe if I'm vegetarian, maybe I'll add some beans to it. If I'm not vegetarian, maybe it's some grass-fed beef or chicken or something. Throwing it in, finding a recipe that, and throw it into a slow cooker. then you're done. Then you just set the timer and you have dinner and you don't have to think about it. And you can relax, because part of also the whole idea of the overwhelm and the stress on the body is that we're always feeling like we're in a rush. And when we are stressed, we can't digest properly. So being able to then sit down and take a breath and take a bite, put your fork down, chew your food, be present, right? We keep coming back to that, be present, enjoy your meal. So you have dinner set and you can sit, breathe, and enjoy it and chew your food. Your body then is able to digest it. It's able to get the nutrients where it's supposed to be. And that's a great way to get started.
That's a great idea.
So one of my favorite meals for crock pot, because I love dark green leafy vegetables, I love sweet potatoes, and I love putting chicken in it. So I always look for something that's organic chicken and throwing it in. And sometimes I'll add some tomatoes to it, or I'll just put a broth in, very clean vegetarian broth, and then throw in some onions and some sweet potato. And I actually don't add, if I'm doing dark green leafy vegetables, I wait till the end to throw that in, but I'll chop up, maybe some broccoli and some cauliflower and throw it in, let it do its job, and whatever spices that I'm feeling. And then at the end, I'll chop up and throw in some Swiss chard and some spinach and kale. And it's so bountiful and it's just so delicious. And that's like one of my favorite meals, and it's so filling. And it gives me a whole spectrum of nutrients. What about you, Robin? What do you love?
That's really delicious. So for the veggie and vegans in the house, I've done like a vegetarian chili, really kind of a fresh tomato base, not even like a sauce, just really fresh tomatoes. And really whatever I have, from onions and garlic and carrots and corn. If I have artichokes, I love doing artichokes and slicing in some fennel, and I'll do potatoes in there as well, but I like doing chickpeas and hominy and all kinds of beans, whatever beans I have. I kind of go through when I do something like that and clear out the fresh and frozen. I really just kind of clear out. It's a great meal to just get everything out of there. The other thing I've done in the slow cooker for the meat eaters is pulled pork. Like just put in the, even if it's the tenderloin of it, throw it in with a little sauce and just let it go do its thing, and then just take forks and pull it apart, and they love it.
Yeah, and then you can get some of the grain-free wraps, or just kind of make a burrito out of it, and then you have really good, and adding in, again, lots of vegetables and avocado. So many things that you can do with that. I love the idea of using what's in stock, right? So, and taking stock of your refrigerator, right? So that's a great way to get started as well. I love your recipe idea too. I think I'm going to try that as well.
Well, I've really enjoyed this conversation on how important our gut is in this season. I mean, it is in all seasons, but really on this transition on how to boost our immunity and how important it is to have that balance. There really is such a connection between the gut and the mind and just whole body health. It's really so important. So our immunity is key. I think especially during this season, how to boost our immunity and realize the importance of eating well.
I love unpacking lunch with you also, Robin. This is a lot of fun. And the key to remember with everything else that we're always talking about is how it's just taking one step and getting started, because it's such a huge topic. And it's just a starting point so that we don't feel overwhelmed and stressed out. And that is really the biggest tip of this fall, is one thing at a time. Just pick something to add in and just keep building your foundation, because as you get connected and understand, it gets easier to take action.
I love that. One step at a time, baby steps. So till next week, enjoy your day.
Take care, everybody.